Alright, hopefully this will work. Hopefully this will. The audio and everything. I really want to do this, and hopefully this is really going over Putin stalling ceasefire talks. Meanwhile, Russia's history, ceasefires in Ukraine, is full of violations. This is from March, okay? And I've gone over. First of all, I'm pissed. I'm definitely pissed off at stupid Trump, this piece of shit. He's like an agent for Russia and his cabinet. I hope that Zelensky sees this. He knows. And I say, fuck America, fuck the United States. Get rid of the United States. They're not going to help. And let me tell you, I voted for Trump for illegal immigration, stuff like that. He hasn't been doing his job. But you can't trust Trump. You can't. And I say for Zelensky, to get rid of Trump. Do not, get rid of, the ceasefire, because they're just going to attack you again. Russia will. Do not trust America. Do not trust Russia. The Russians have time and time again broken every ceasefire agreement. Let's see, health strategy, create energy infrastructure for 30 days. And this is from March, okay? And I want to go into this because especially Americans and a lot of Europeans are very stupid and they don't know what the fuck is really going on. And let me tell you, okay, so it goes into this week, Russian leader. This is keep in mind from March of this year, 2025. Vladimir Putin spoke over the phone with the U.S. President Donald Trump ceasefire. Again, they've broken every ceasefire that there has been. Putin agreed to halt strikes on Ukraine's energy infrastructure for 30 days. Another broken promise there. Russian swarms, that very same night, Russian swarms of drones. This is the thing that the stupid Putin. I love the Russian people, but they need to get rid of Putin and everything, and his regime. You can't trust them. They have taken land already with Georgia. They have a puppet government in Belarus. The Russians do. You have drone incursions in Poland, Romania, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania that the Russians are doing. Of course, some of them are UFOs with Belgium, stuff like that, and some other places. Not all drones. Anyways, so while Russia's full-scale invasion began in 2022, I think it's 2021, not 2022, started much earlier with the 2014 invasion, which it did. Crimea, let's see, that year Russia not only illegally attempted to annex Crimea, but also occupied parts of Ukraine's Donetsk, Luhansk regions. They broke everything, every ceasefire that there has been. Do not trust Trump, Zelensky. Fuck Trump. Get rid of the bitches. Have the EU get stuff from them. Overwhelming evidence of Russian troops. This is the thing, is that they're already in there. The Russians, Putin, had people installed since 2012 and stuff like that, or before. Putin's grand plan is a religious type thing with him, where they want the greater USSR. They want the satellite states. They want Romania back. They want, Bulgaria, they want Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, like I said, Poland, all these other satellite countries back. And it's like a religious thing that they have their beliefs and everything. Right here, in response, Ukraine pursued diplomatic solutions with France, Germany, brokering over 200 negotiation rounds and more than 20 ceasefire agreements. However, ultimately undermined and they're broken by Russia, as we see here. Now, while Ukraine seeks peace and aims to work with its allies, including the United States is a piece of shit trash, is not ally. They're not an ally. Do not trust the United States. Do not trust Trump. Okay? He is a sociopath and a bit of a psychopath. This is coming from somebody that voted for the guy, and while I also voted for some Democrats to be in there as well, you cannot trust Trump. The only thing that he sees is money. Let me see. Let's go back over this. While Ukraine seeks peace and aims to work with its allies, including Putin is highly unlikely to accept. Anyways, this is old news. The only reason why the Russians, they want to scale back troop levels in Ukraine. They want to do that. This is the thing with stupid Trump. That piece of shit. Is that they want Ukraine to draw back the military. Meanwhile, the Russians are on Ukraine's land. They don't have to leave. They can keep it. Piece of shit Trump, this piece of shit has ass dragged out of office. Get good at kicking the ass and what he's doing. It's ridiculous. It's totally bullshit. And where, Russians, it's like Trump is a Russian, puppet of Putin's. Wanting to draw back the military of Ukraine where they can't fight back and taking Ukraine's land and everything. So let's go here, June 14, a week-long unilateral ceasefire. Fucking idiot, can't you speak? Let's see. Is declared by Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko. Within days, Russian-backed forces resumed attacks. August 29, 2014, Russia shelled the Ilovaisk humanitarian corridor, massacring besieged Ukrainian soldiers. September 5th, 2014, the Minsk I ceasefire signed by Ukraine, Russia, Belarus, which is a puppet government for Russia now. They got Russian forces there on Belarus border to invade, Poland and stuff like that, and everything. Just a puppet government of Russia, of Putin. The Minsk I ceasefire in Belarus, Russian-backed forces immediately violated. Russian forces violate this by attacking Donetsk airport and Mariupol. September 19th, 2014. A memorandum reinforcing Minsk I is added, outlining buffer zones and calling for the withdrawal of foreign fighters and heavy weaponry. Russia violates it instantly. December 2014, December 9. Ukraine initiates a day of silent ceasefire to facilitate humanitarian aid within hours. Russian-backed forces break the truce. This piece of shit, Putin, and Trump seem to really want Russia to just break another ceasefire agreement. And with the Russians demanding that they scale back forces, Russia is just going to go all in and everything. And I gotta say, the Ukrainians have been fighting and taking out Russian, they can keep fighting. They're winning. The Ukrainians have actually been winning a lot in this. Taking out oil refineries, taking out, naval vessels. Over 1 million of their troops, of Russian troops, dead. They've been taking out, like I said, oil refineries, electrical power plants, just outside of, Moscow and stuff like that, disabling their power. They've been actually making a lot of wins against Russia. And stupid Trump and Putin, they say they want Ukraine to surrender. What a load of bullshit with this. Let's see, they assessment hours, Russian-backed forces break the truce using artillery and small arms fire. January 16, 2015, a ceasefire in place. Russian-backed forces shelled Ukrainian positions 24 times. February 15, 2015, Ukraine, Russia, France, Germany signed the Minsk II ceasefire to reinforce Minsk I. What a piece of shit Trump is. As Russia fired on Ukrainian checkpoint near Zolta in Luhansk region, that's eastern Ukraine. September 1st, 2015. And all these things to say Ukraine can't keep it up, it's Russia that's been failing in this more than Ukraine has. It's just stupid Trump wants Russia to win. They want them to take over that. It's not the stupid psychopath Trump and his stupid idiots in his cabinet and everything. They deserve a freaking ass kicking for this. Guess what's kicking the ass? What I think. December 15, 2015. A ceasefire is proposed for holiday celebrations in response. Russian-backed forces storm Komendantov now Plusky in the Donetsk region, that's eastern Ukraine, that the Russians have been able to keep. A neutral zone under Minsk agreements. It's actually Ukraine, it's not neutral, it's Ukrainian. Mine territory, Viscous mine territory, and terrorized civilians in Ukraine. More Russian combat activity is recorded in Donetsk region, which is eastern Ukraine over there. April 30th, 2016. That's obviously Poroshenko. Is this him over here? That's Merkel, that dumb idiot of Germany at the time. It's April 30th, 2016. A ceasefire is organized for Orthodox Easter. Russia shells again. They attack Ukrainian positions. A sovereign nation. Positions soon after. Multiple breaches are documented. September 1st, 2016. Another ceasefire. You see where I'm going here? Ceasefire attempt is made to mark the beginning of the year. Russian-backed forces violate the ceasefire with artillery, mortar attacks. Breaches are documented by Ukrainian authorities and international monitors. September 15, 2016. And this goes down and down and down here. This is from United 24 Media. Look at this. Dozens and dozens. On Christmas. 2018. How many times in 2018 here? 4 or 5 times. They have broken this. And people say, there have been some idiots here in America saying, Ukraine cannot keep it up. No, it's Russia. Ukrainians have been severely destroying a lot of, Russian military, a lot of their oil, electrical, etc., naval, in his society, Crimea. Like I said, piece of shit Trump just wants them to cave in, wants them to give up once there's democracy in Ukraine. Now, people have said there's a lot of bad things that have happened in Ukraine with Zelensky. Well, the thing is, they can't change government, they can't have elections, or there's this war going on and you can't change all of that. It'd be a lot worse under Putin and his exterminations of a lot of the Ukrainian people and kids that have been going on. And this is something that's not talked about, is his exterminations of the Ukrainian people, taking villagers out, Russians taking villagers out in these regions and killing Ukrainians, putting in Russian soldiers and assets, totally remaking. Sounds familiar with what's going on with immigration, stuff like that. Totally destroying the fabric and stuff like that. But so you got this October 2020, 2021, 2023. While violations dropped significantly in 2020, it was largely because Russia was preparing for full-scale invasion, which they were. I mean, during the Beijing Olympics, they were at the border at the ready. Since 2014, Russia has repeatedly demonstrated its disregard for ceasefires, making any future agreements uncertain. No, they're void. They broke all of them. It wasn't uncertain, they broke them. Ukraine's willingness to participate. Ukraine's willingness to participate, which they shouldn't have, but anyways. It was just a joke, over and over again. And there are only some Americans, only like in the thousands that know the bullshit was happening, but most are just don't know the facts. I've done intelligence stuff, what's been going on there. Putin's grand plan is to take over all these countries. It's like a religious thing. It's almost like a religious type thing, like I said, where they want the satellite states back of the greater USSR. Putin has said over and over that the worst thing that happened, for Russia was giving up those countries, letting them have a democracy, and he wants all of them back and stuff. And he's, had drone incursions, and some are UFOs as well. But, drones have, invaded different spaces, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. This includes also Poland as well, and I believe Romania and other places. You're talking about, it's not going to stop. Putin also had laser attacks on the British, naval vessel there, and they attacked us during the mid-'80s. The Russians did that. We did nothing. It's total bullshit scam of, the Russians. Again, I love the Russian people. It's the government that I have a problem with. So, you talk about, China and stuff like that with the Chinese people. And people should never hate the people, because it's not the people that should be hated. It's the regime in place, and stuff like that, and everything. What it is, and yeah, I am pissed at Trump because he's a sellout. He doesn't care about Ukraine. He doesn't care about the Ukrainian people. He doesn't care about the fact that Putin's going to take over. Ukraine's going to, what about the Russians scaling back their forces? What about that? They're not. They can keep their forces. Only Ukraine's military has scaled back. Fuck you, Trump. You piece of shit. Anyways, I had to make this video. I want the truth out there.